Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's GTA 5 video, I'm going to be telling you guys about 10 Easter eggs and references that proves that Gay Tony Prince and Luis Lopez are still alive and likely living in Los Santos. So I'm continuing this series as we've covered CJ Carl Johnson, Nico Bellic, and Tommy Vercetti alike, and you guys really seem to enjoy this series. So we're going to be touching on some really cool references, hidden Easter eggs, and so much more of both of these characters. So even though Luis Lopez was technically the main character of The Ballad of Gay Tony, the DLC was named after the guy. So I feel like he's a big part of the update, so we're going to be including him in this video as well. Okay, at the number one spot today, did you know that you can actually go inside of Solomon Richards' office? Now, I'm sure you were aware that there are cutscenes that take place inside of his office, but you can actually get inside outside of missions and whatnot, and you can go in there in free mode. Now, if you're on PC, you can use mods to get yourself inside. It's actually really cool. Solomon has like a lot of awards and trophies and certificates in here. It's a pretty unique area. And one of the photos on the wall is actually him on the left, standing with either an actor, producer, or director on the right. And in the background, you can actually see Luis Lopez. Now, the reason we know this is him is because he's dressed in the exact same attire. Luis Lopez wore jeans. He had the famous black and white varsity jacket on. He had the very tight haircut where the sides were basically shaved and sort of a buzz cut on the top. So we can definitely tell it's him. I'm not sure what he was doing at the same event as Solomon Richards. We know that Luis was heavily involved in the nightclub scene. Maybe they had a connection or an event where they were together at the same place. And since Solomon Richards has been making movies in Los Santos for the last 40 to 50 years, we know that this took place in Los Santos. And it obviously had to be between 2008 and 2013 because Luis Lopez was likely up in Liberty City until that date. So pretty cool reference right there. And it's a good chance that, yeah, that is Luis. He's still alive. And now he's likely still in Los Santos, which is really cool. All right, the next Easter egg has to do with Gay Tony Prince. Now, you can actually find this in Jimmy DeSanta's room. So this is going to be in Michael's house. And this is sort of right under his TV. He has a lot of different CDs and a remote. And then there's a magazine called Residue, which I'm going to assume is like a pop culture magazine or whatever. And one of the subtitles or sub-articles in this magazine is Tony Prince, Ace of Club Talks. So clearly in this magazine, there is going to be a section where Tony Prince is either interviewed or featured. It would have been really cool if we were actually able to read this magazine, like if we could somehow access Residue's online website and maybe look into this a little bit more. But unfortunately, there is nothing more to this magazine. So Tony Prince, Ace of Club Talks, apparently he reveals something in here. But if Tony Prince is doing this interview, there's a good chance, obviously, he's still alive. And because this magazine was distributed in Los Santos, there's a good chance he's hanging out and making moves here as well. So that right there is Easter egg and reference number 2. The next reference is actually to Masonette 9. Now, in case you guys are not aware, Masonette 9 is Gay Tony Prince's straight/celebrity nightclub in The Ballad of Gay Tony. And he is actually at the end of the game talking with another character, Yusuf Amir, to franchising and expanding Masonette 9. So basically, if someone franchises something and expanding it, they're going to make more locations. And that would indicate that maybe it's come to Los Santos because there's actually a shirt in GTA Online that you can get for your characters, male and female, that says Masonette 9 Liberty City. So that's pretty cool. That's a nice little reference right there. And again, it's a good chance that Masonette 9 has likely expanded out west to all the way to Los Santos. And the reason we know this is because of Bahama Mamas as well. Now, Bahama Mamas is a competing club to Masonette 9, and it has expanded out west. So the one in Liberty City is called Bahama Mamas LC. The one in Los Santos is called Bahama Mamas West. So if Masonette 9 expanded all the way out to the West Coast, you would assume that Bahama Mamas would follow suit, and you would think that that was either the work of Luis Lopez or Tony Prince. Because at the end of the game, if you remember, sort of Because at the end of the game, if you remember, Gay Tony Prince sort of hands off his nightclub business to Luis Lopez and Yusuf Amir, and it's their job to license it, franchise it, and expand it. So it's a good chance that the addition of Bahama Mamas coming to the West Coast means Mason at 9 is there as well, and that shirt kind of indicates the exact same thing. Another Easter egg I thought is pretty cool is a gay bar in Los Santos called Pitchers. Now, Pitchers can be found on the north side of the city in Los Santos, and it's pretty cool. It's next to another restaurant as well that, funny enough, sort of has a awkward innuendo as well, but regardless, getting around that point, Pitchers is pretty cool. It's a gay bar. It's got like pink neon all over the place, and I actually think that this is another version of Hercules, which is Tony Prince's gay bar in Liberty City. Now, the reason I say this is because the logos are almost identical. Take a look at the logo for Hercules, and then take a look at the logo for Pitchers. You can see that they are nearly identical. It's a really buff man flexing with sort of pink colors. I mean, they're literally almost identical. So that right there to me indicates that maybe Hercules was turned into Pitchers when it came over to the West Coast in Los Santos. And maybe Luis Lopez and Tony Prince are actually running the show there. Now, the reason I keep mentioning Tony Prince, even though he said he was getting away from the nightclub business, at the end of the campaign and throughout the entire story, he often spoke of his intentions to move to an extremely secluded getaway spa town, saying his life in Liberty was too stressful. So this to me indicates that he'd likely moved to somewhere like Los Santos or San Fierro, and he'd be getting away from Liberty City. So that's why I'm including him in this as well, even though at the end of his game he said he wanted to get out of the nightclub business. Okay, moving on to the next Easter egg, there's actually a license plate in-game that can be found that says Luis Lopez. So this is actually a special taxi cab mission, and it's actually found on one of the docks. So if you're playing as Franklin and you actually kill the guys at the docks, you'll notice that the motorcycle, its license plate, says Luis Lopez, which is kind of cool. Maybe he ended up taking this from Luis Lopez. Maybe he was inspired by Luis Lopez because he's still in and around the city. That to me could be pretty interesting. Otherwise, I'm not sure why this guy would literally have Luis Lopez on the back of his license plate. But either way, pretty cool stuff right there. Another thing I thought was interesting was this NPC. So this NPC can be found sort of up in Sandy Shores in Blaine County, and he honestly looks like Gay Tony. So we know Gay Tony did drugs. This guy is incredibly skinny, looks malnourished and everything. He has the same sort of haircut. He has the same glasses as Gay Tony Prince, those sort of wraparound black shades with the purple finish on them. And another thing, he's wearing a rainbow belt, which obviously would kind of pair with the Gay Tony name. So I'm not saying that is Gay Tony Prince. Maybe it's just supposed to be a nice little reference to him. If it has, he has really gone off the rails. I'm not going to lie. Maybe he does need to get back into the nightclub business, but I thought that NPC right there was certainly pretty interesting. The next reason why I think Gay Tony Prince and Luis Lopez are alive and living in Liberty City is Rocco Pawlowski, who's a major character in GTA 4, The Ballad of Gay Tony, and a minor character in GTA 5. So to give you the too long didn't read version, basically Tony and Luis get into it with Rocco and his uncle Vince, and Luis is about to kill Rocco, but actually Tony steps in at the last minute and saves his life by telling Luis that he is a made man. Now after that happened, Rocco leaves the club and is never heard or seen again after the completion of the story. And if the player calls Rocco's number after departure time, his voicemail states that he has fled to Liberty City to lay low for a while. And then, of course, we meet Rocco in GTA 5. And what's interesting is, even though he said he got out of the business, one of the news sites in-game, the Daily Rag, reported that he is about to turn an abandoned warehouse in East Los Santos into an EDM superclub, fitted with jacuzzis, chicks in cages, sparklers in the bottles, different themes per floor, and opened 24/7. So it seems Rocco has gotten back into the nightclub game, and even though he wasn't killed by Luis Lopez or Tony Prince, as Michael ends up killing him, there's a good chance that Luis might have wanted to finish what he started. ultimately getting some revenge. So him coming to Los Santos might have been to finish off Rocco, even though Michael already did the job for him. All right, and the final reference that I think is pretty cool is actually a pretty minor one. So one of the missions in GTA 5 is called the Ballad of Rocco. And obviously, that's a nice little reference, a nice little parody of the Ballad of Gay Tony. And of course, we saw Rocco Poloski in the Ballad of Gay Tony for the first time. So he got his own mission called the Ballad of Rocco. Anyways, that right there is 10 Easter eggs and references to why I believe Gay Tony Prince and Luis Lopez are not only still alive, but also possibly living in Liberty City too. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think these two main characters from Liberty City are still alive and hanging out in Los Santos? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comments down below. If you did go on to enjoy this video though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.